Very good morning to all of you, my dear students of class 7AB. Class 7B and C sections. I hope you all will be very happy, quite comfortable at your residence, and will be careful about your health also. I would like to tell you that right now the Kolkata city and as well as Howrah, both are the peak center, epic center or hot spot of coronavirus. So please, right now, while it is it is ununderstandable to say that who is suffering from corona and who is passing by us, whether he is a corona positive or not. Then please stay safe and stay at your residence. There is no need to go outside. Again, I request you that there is no need to go outside. Okay, so please be inside your house, stay safe. We were discussing chapter number 2 yesterday, new kings and kingdom. I started. Okay, so now in this map you may see that various kind of uh, empires have been nominated and have been notified, and now the emergence of the new dynasties we are studying this. Okay, the emergence of the new dynasties. By the 7th century, there were big landlords or warrior chief or chieftains, different regions of the subcontinent. I have little bit read this one also. Hiranyagarbha, I have finished. In other cases, men were interpreted in third paragraph. In other cases, men from enterprising families used their military skills to carve out kingdom. है ना? For instance, the Kadamba Mayur Sarmana and Gurzara Pratihara हरिचंद्र वर ब्राह्मण्स हु गेव अप देयर ट्रेडिशनल प्रोफेशन एंड टुक टू आर्म्स. ये बात भी मैं कल बता चुका हूँ आपको. देन टुडे एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन इन द किंगडम्स. मैनी ऑफ द न्यू किंग्स अडॉप्टेड हाई सोल्डिंग टाइटल्स सच एज महाराजा धीराजा, ओके, त्रिभुवन चक्रवर्ती. Okay, these were the some hyperbolic and high profile title of the emperors. However, in spite of such claims, they often shared power with their samantas as well as with association of peasants, traders, and brahmins. But even then, after adopting such a kind of title, they sometimes they shared their power with samantas. Again, samantas, who are samantas? Big landlords, and who used to give some gift to the emperor or some army assistance during the time of war. They are called samantas. So emperor used to share their power to samantas as well as the associate of peasants, traders, and brahmins. In each of these states, resources were obtained from the producers. Sorry, beta. In each of these states, resources were obtained from the producers, that is, peasants, cattle keepers, artisans, who were often persuaded or compelled to surrender part of what they produced. Sometimes, suppose that what is the main function of a peasants? The main function of a peasants is to produce grain. What is the main function of trade and merchant? Merchantmen. Then the main function of the trade person is to conduct trade and commerce. And what is the main purpose of an artisan? To to make something special, some beautiful things to create. Okay, so many a times these emperors try to implement this thing, that these peasants, these artisans, and these cattle keepers and these trade persons, they should give their part what they are producing. They should give a particular part to the emperor. Sometimes these were claimed as rent. Sometimes these were claimed as rent due to a lord who asserted that he owned the land. Okay, and landlordism, Samanta system. What this was actually, landlord used to be the owner of a huge part of land. Okay, a huge area of land, that is called landlord. So sometimes these were claimed as rent due to a lord who asserted that he owned the land. I mean, sometime a lord used to have a huge part of land, and then he used to give some sort of some small parts to many of peasants. Then those peasants used to cultivate that field and used to produce some grain. But ultimately, landlord used to take revenue from them, some grain from them. Not some, I mean a lot of part of their produced grain used to be taken by landlord at that time as the rent of that land. Due to a lord who asserted that he owned the land, revenue was also collected from traders, and after that I mean revenue was also collected by traders and commerce persons also. Okay, so this is we are discussing. Then 400 taxes. Now we will read this heading also. The inscriptions of the Cholas who ruled in Tamil Nadu refer to the more than 400 terms for different kind of taxes. Now we will have to again to go to this map. Now on the very south side you will see this is Tamil Nadu. This is Tamil Nadu, I mean very lower side, and in Tamil Nadu area now you can see Cholas. Can you see Cholas? You can easily see that this is Chola Dynasty. Okay, so the inscription, you know what, now another new word came, and a word has came that inscription. So can you tell me what do you mean by inscription? Anything, I mean a kind of special writing that is written on a part of a stone or on some wood or on some other metal is called inscription in history. inscription क्या है? पुराने किसी भी चीज़ पर, वस्तु पर कोई लेख लिख दिया जाता है और वो लेख लंबे समय तक चलता है, दैट इज कॉल्ड इंस्क्रिप्शन. The inscription of Cholas who ruled in Tamil Nadu refer to more than 400 terms for different kind of taxes. The most frequently mentioned tax is VAT. Okay, what do you mean by वेट्टी? क्वेश्चन आएगा कि वेट्टी क्या है. तो चोला डायनेस्टी में जो सबसे फेमस टैक्स है, वैसे तो 400 टाइप के टैक्सेस हम सुनते हैं, बट स्टिल द मोस्ट फेमस टैक्स ऑफ चोला डायनेस्टी वॉज वेट्टी, taken not in cash but in the form of forced labor. Okay, and veti was not a cash tax, means you cannot pay some money and you will be get I mean rid of this tax. But this was a I mean this was a kind of labor, land sorry no, this forced labor. It means in that in this particular tax, I mean emperor used to compel you, emperor used to force you to give I mean to go and work in his field, or forced labor, such a kind of tax was viti. Second is and kadamai or land revenue. And what was the second name? Kadamai was also a tax of Chola dynasty. And what was I mean kadamai, it was a land revenue. There were also taxes on thatching the houses. Okay, house tax was also implemented. The use of a ladder to climb palm trees, assess on succession to family property. Okay, and what are the other taxes? I mean, if you know a palm tree, I mean a very huge tree, and if you want to I mean break something from that tree, then you'll have to use a ladder. Only then you can I mean increase to that palm tree. Okay, but what the tax was, I mean if you want to use that ladder on a palm tree, then you have to pay some tax for that ladder also. Another thing, assess on succession of the family property. And you know assess, cess, cess is a very short amount of very short form of property is called cess. So what was cess? A small amount of tax on succession of family property. If you are taking your property from your father, I mean if someone's father dies, then after his death, his father's death, that person will want that I need my property on my name of the property of my father. Then if you want to do so, then you'll have to pay a small amount of tax, that is called cess. Okay, I mean a tax on tax. Cess means a tax on tax is called cess. Are any such taxes collected today? Now what you have to do, you have to compare that situation with the current situation with modern situation. Are I mean, in modern time period, do we pay some sort of taxes in such a way? Now it depends upon you. Think these resources were used to finance the king's establishment, as well as for the construction of temples also and forts. So these resources, these kind of collection of money was very much important for emperor, for king, from two purposes. One, for its financial establishment, from all these taxes the treasury of the emperor used to be enriched. Second thing, for making fort and for making temples. They were also used to fight wars. Okay, emperors of the at that time used to fight wars, which were in turn expected to lead to the acquisition of wealth in the form of plunder. Underline plunder. Plunder means loot. Loot in हिंदी it is called in हिंदी it is called लूटना. किसी को लूट लेते हैं ना, तो that is called plunder. So at that time the emperor used to conduct war practice also. They used to attack upon some another person, some another family, and they used to another king also, and from there they used to carry a lot of plunder. Booty. Booty means loot kamal. BOOTY. Booty means loot kamal. Plunder माने लूटना. PLUNDER. ठीक है ना? तो and access to land as well as trade routes. So, what are the three important things? What are the three important things on which a particular emperor was dedicated to attack upon some another country? Number one, to enrich its treasury by plundering the booty. Number two, to access to the land. To increase the part of his land area. And third, to to just cover the trade route also, to have a kind of power to acquisite the trade rules of that area also. Then the functionaries for collecting revenue were generally recruited from influential families. Now underline this point. Those those people who used to collect some money, who were responsible for gathering revenue, so they came from some special family. They were not appointed from some very common family. They used to come from some special family, like some from the house of some landlord, or from the house of some minister, or from the house of some army commander, etc. The functionaries for the collecting revenue were generally recruited from influential influential families, and positions were often hereditary. And once a person was recruited on any post, then after him, his son used to be automatically adopt that post, and after his death, then his son, the next hereditary will adopt the same path. Okay, so in such a way we can say that kind of very not a very effective system was going on at that time. What hereditary form of system was there. And so, and we do not know that, we know that hereditary form system is not very good. Why? It may happen that your father will be very good in that calculation, in that mindset, in the collection of that revenue, but you may be cruel. Okay, or the successor will be cruel. So this is not a very good task. This was true about the army as well. Okay, in many cases close relatives of the king held these positions on, and this was true in the area of army also. If a father is fighting for a country, for his empire, for his emperor's empire, then automatically his son used to be a soldier after him, and he used to also fight for the same emperor. So it was not a very good thing, and sometimes very close to the emperor's people used to be the part of such a kind of things. Then prasastis and land grants. Underline both the words, very important words are these. Number one, prasastis. Prasasti, in Hindi it is a word that is prasasti. Prasasti means the poem or some prose that is written on the praise, for the praise of some person, some king. What used to be during 7th, 8th, 9th century, in Hindi, madam will tell you that in the court of various emperors, there used to be court poets. Okay, various court poet used to be there. What was their main function? Suppose that a king is going to fight some war, or king is going to conduct some treaty, or king is going to appoint some tax. Okay, what was their main role? The main role of those court poets was to write the history of at that time, of that emperor's time. They will write in a very, praiseful manner that our emperor so and so, with the title of so and so, he went to the another country and he conquered so and so amount of money, in a very applauding way, in a very praiseful way. So these writings that we find are called prasastis. These writings that we find are called prasastis. Do one thing also, we should know that these prasastis were not only written upon the paper. These prasastis used to be written on stones also. You do not know, in 6, I do not know whether you have read or not. You know the Samudragupta, a famous emperor of Gupta dynasty. He has his court poet named Harishen. He had written a prasasti that is called Prayag Prasasti. That is called Prayag Prasasti. Okay, and right now it is in Allahabad on the nose of Sangam, on the of Akbar. This Prasasti has been kept. So the praiseful things have been mentioned about Samudragupta in that Prasasti. That is why we called it Prasastis. Prasasti means, a poem or a prose part that is written on the page of some king. Second is land grants. Okay, land grants. Now the second term, just gift of land. Suppose that some a person is fighting for us, or we are conducting some yagya type thing, or are having our ministers for the further work. So what we used to do, if we don't want to pay them in cash, there were two ways. If they are working for us, then we'll have to pay some tax, or pay something to them, we'll have to pay. So there were many reasons for there. First reason, that just pay them in cash. If you are just right now today's profession, I'm teaching you, I'm doing my job. And what is the another way? Government is paying me cash. They amount me some sort of salary, that okay, just go and have this account in your have this amount in your account. So right now today's transaction system is cash transaction system. Okay, but at that time there was no monetary policy. There was no, money. There was no cash, there were not a lot of cash. the this kind of rupee currency system was not available in our country. Then what used to be, then they used to keep some, coins, hoards. And coins, what do you mean by coin means, some metal coin like gold coin, silver coin, bronze coin. Okay, so sometimes they used to pay the amount in coins also. That 5,000 gold coins is the salary of 1 month for us, for a, job of a soldier. But it was, there used to be a huge army. There used to be, uh, there used to be, a lot of things. So it was very difficult, to find out that sorry, my I was little bit got disconcentrated again. I link to me with you people. What I wanted to say, that not a, such a kind of sufficient amount that was found at that time. But what used to happen, in the lack of coins or metal, then the emperor used to award some land, some villages. That okay, you are a army commander, you are given 10 villages. And on the basis, on the revenue of those 10 villages, on the land revenue of those 10 villages, you will just balance your family. You will, that is your salary, and you balance yourself. And after you, your son will be the master, will be the owner of that land. So that is called land grants. Okay, i mean uh, for on the behalf of doing some work. Okay, if we give some sort of land to a particular army person, to a particular tradesman, to our ministers, or to some brahmins for doing yagyas and all other things, then it was called land grant. When the land was awarded for doing something special or some important for the country, then it was called land grants. Okay, so प्रशस्तिज and land grants. जैसे कोई भी, अब कोई सिपाही है अपना जॉब कर रहा है, उसके पास कैश नहीं है राजा के पास देने के लिए, तो वो ज़मीन दे देता था, गांव दे देता था। कोई ब्राह्मण है, उसने यज्ञ कराया राजा का, ठीक है ना, अब राजा ने उसको 10 गांव दे दिया कि जाइए आप 10 गांव आपके हो गए, ठीक है ना, तो ब्राह्मण उसके रेवेन्यू पर जो लोग पैदा करते थे उनसे थोड़ा थोड़ा ले करके अपना काम चलाता था। ठीक है, इसी तरह मिनिस्टर्स को भी बड़े बड़े लैंड दे दिए जाते थे, मतलब 50-50 100-100 गांव दे दिए जाते थे। तो यही बेटा लैंड ग्रांट्स है, जो ज़मीन का दान किया जाता है, ठीक है ना, दान में दी गई ज़मीन जो इम्परर दे देता था अपने सबॉर्डिनेट्स को, ठीक है ना, फॉर डूइंग योर वर्क। सो दिस इज फॉर ऑल ऑफ टुडे। अब आपको मैं कुछ क्वेश्चंस दे रहा हूँ, आपको लिख करके मुझे सबमिट करने हैं। जिसने पहला होमवर्क तो ये है, जिसने फर्स्ट चैप्टर की एक्सरसाइज नहीं की है, एनी हाउ आज करके जमा करिए। व्हाट इज योर होमवर्क? पहला होमवर्क है कि जिसने फर्स्ट चैप्टर की एक्सरसाइज नहीं की है आज करके जमा करे, चैप्टर नंबर 7 की। ओके, और क्लास 7 सेक्शन बी एन सी चैप्टर नंबर 1 हिस्ट्री का फर्स्ट चैप्टर का एक्सरसाइज जिसने नहीं किया है वो आज करके जमा करे, ठीक है। और छोटा सा होमवर्क मैं आपको दूंगा, आपको डिफाइन करना है, डिफाइन प्रशस्तीज, डिफाइन इंस्क्रिप्शन, डिफाइन लैंड ग्रांट्स, डिफाइन वेटी एंड डिफाइन कदमई। आपको 5 चीज़ों को डिफाइन करना है, डिफाइन प्रशस्ति, डिफाइन लैंड ग्रांट्स, डिफाइन इंस्क्रिप्शन, डिफाइन वेटी एंड डिफाइन कदमई। ओके, आपको ये चीज़ बेटा करके दिखानी है। दैट इज़ सफिशिएंट फॉर टुडे। अपने घर में रहिए प्लीज़, बाहर मत निकलिए, अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ रहिए, स्टे सेफ एंड हेल्दी। हम बहुत जल्द मिलेंगे। ओके, बाय, टेक केयर।